to dive deeper into how to use short video content to find people who are looking for the value that the gospel provides, but will not recognize the container in which it's provided. So the point of making YouTube shorts or Instagram reels or TikTok short videos, whatever those things are called, in terms of gospel teaching, the reason I've invited you to do this is because all of those are mechanisms to have the message put in front of others that you've never been exposed to before. The nucleus of this is new people, to find new people. So by using those mechanisms, you will be placed in front of new people that have never heard of you before. But the question is, how can you make that effective in achieving the purpose, which is for them to watch something else that you make? That's the purpose. Now, you don't want to just make things that tell people what they want to hear, although that will achieve the goal of having them watch something else that you've made. The point is that you're getting the right kinds of people to watch something else for the right reasons, which is that they have found value in what you've shared, and hopefully that they've taken up whatever invitation you've given them to improve. The improvement can be as small as watch this longer video on this topic that I also made. It doesn't have to be some enormous thing like go climb Mount Everest and come back to me and tell me how that went. So, it turns out it's not a mystery what gets videos like that to be promoted, the short videos. In fact, the algorithm used by YouTube Shorts is well known. It's out in the open. So I'd like to go over some details of how that works to give you some ideas of the importance of various aspects of these videos that you make. So in a nutshell, what YouTube Shorts does is it blasts your video out to a small set of people who have never heard of you to test how popular your video will be. And if you're successful, it will push it out to more people. And this basically happens on several iterations. So what are they testing for? They're testing for retention, engagement, and growth. So to start with, YouTube will push out your short to a small batch of viewers that aren't your subscribers, that have never heard of you before. They're looking for whether people watch it, whether they watch it to the end, and whether they like, comment, or subscribe as a result. So if you want your video to go out to many people, you have to make content that people choose to keep watching to the end, where they like, comment, or subscribe. That's basically it, okay? So what sorts of things will make that more difficult? Well, if you make a video and it's all rambly, or you're talking so slowly, or without inflection, you sound like Mountain Man from Duck Dynasty, right? They're going to keep going. I've noticed that the lack of subtitles will make them keep going. So both of those things are very easy to change. Even if you're not naturally a fast talker, if you're recording it with the YouTube Short app, there's a pair of buttons there. It's the record button and the back button, where you can record a segment, hit pause, and if you don't think you said it fast enough or cleanly enough, you just hit the back button and you do it again. Don't make 30-second videos that stretch out for 3 minutes. No one has time for that in the modern world, okay? It's a different story if you're making a 2-hour video where you're talking through things and you're doing it intentionally. It's a different story. But that will not match up with the goals of this task, which is to find new people and draw them into the vehicles that they will not currently accept. What do I mean by that? There are some things that you really need 30 minutes to teach, or an hour, or 5 videos, or a 500-page book. And the modern person lives in so much unbelief, that's a jargony way of saying it. The modern person has such a low attention span and has been burned so many times on things that aren't worth their time because of this sea of noise, that you really have to show them up front in 3 to 180 seconds why this, it's like an abstract for the value of the gospel. That's what you're trying to make. And it's not the whole thing, but just whatever thing pertains to their life and the value that they see and the needs that they have, the questions they have, you draw them in with that. So that's what you're trying to make, is abstracts on the value of whatever segment of the gospel. These are filaments of light that you're putting out. You're putting out filaments of light where if they trace them up, they'll find more and more and more as they go. That's your goal. Okay? So you're pretty much going to get somewhere between 20 and 300 views no matter what's in your shorts. Sorry, it's funny. But where you go from there depends on how people react to what's in your shorts. Okay? And if they really like what's in your shorts, you'll get way more views. So what's good? Like, if you're a man, you've probably Googled, what's a good bench press? What's considered a strong deadlift, right? And you get these ranges. You do the same thing with shorts. If you're 300 views or less, people are not staying to watch the end of your short, which means that the content's not good enough, or you're taking too long to say it. Or you don't have subtitles, right? Or they're scrolling past without stopping, which means that you don't have a good enough hook in the beginning. Or they're not liking or subscribing because of it, which also is an indication of quality. Okay? If you're at the 500 to 1,000-ish range, then you passed the first step, but you still haven't broken out. And the what you'll see in your viewer graph is that it goes logarithmic after around 1,000 views. So YouTube stops pushing it. Basically, as long as you're getting a response from people, YouTube will keep pushing it. Because YouTube's objective is very obvious. They want higher views because that's how they make money with the advertising. So you have to make content that gets those views. And again, to be totally clear about this, I'm not saying go the way of the world and just, be the next Mr. Beast. What I'm saying is do what you can to present the gospel in the most palatable way. That's the work. It's not just, being a monkey in front of a camera for 3 minutes or less, but actually go out and find YouTube has tools for this. Find the questions people are asking. Find the topics they're searching for. Think about what the Lord has taught you about himself and about the gospel and about the world and about people. And then make a snappy little video. It'll take you 10 minutes or less to make a 3-minute or less video using the YouTube app. Make a snappy little video that shows people value in ways that they can understand. And that's how you make these videos. And you'll notice that unless it's a cut from a longer video, which I can make quite easily, well, actually, it's not as easy as it should be. As a former software guy, I actually find it very annoying to do that. But I don't, if I'm making a short, I'm not going to make it sitting here in this room with this terrible light overhead. So I'm teaching to people who already find value in the things that I teach with these long videos. I don't think that some random person who's never heard of me before is going to sit and watch a 1.5 hour video And so if they have a problem with this setting, then it doesn't matter. They're not going to sit around for an hour and a half video, even if I make it in a studio. Doesn't matter. Okay? So it's not worth the trouble for that. But on a short, it's kind of like your first impression. You wouldn't go on a job interview dressed in a tank top unless it's a really interesting place to work, right? Anyway, so I hope that helps clear this up. You want to start right away, give the bottom line up front, cut out all the pauses and fluff and the ums, and at the end, you want to give them an invitation. And often that invitation could be, hey, follow me to see part 2, or subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any content, or if you want to know more about this, check out this other video. And that will all help boost how many views you get.